Members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for His Worshipful, the Mayor of Chorley, Councillor Alistair Morwood.
Members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening. Please be seated. It doesn't get any easier. Oh, thank you. Thank you to everyone for attending this meeting. My name is Councillor Alistair Morwood and I am the Mayor. Members of the public are welcome to observe the proceedings on YouTube. And due to regulations, only those members physically present are able to vote. When you are participating, please speak towards the microphone so that everyone can hear you. And please do not obstruct your mouth to ensure that anyone lip reading can do so. If anyone is having issues, please let Democratic Services know. The usual housekeeping, we are not expecting a fire drill, so if the alarm sounds, please exit the way you came in. Please ensure that any mobile phones are switched to silent, and that includes your iPads actually. And if the technology fails, I will adjourn the meeting and try and resolve the issues. Not personally, but someone will. Have we any apologies? Yes, just the one, Councillor Top. Thank you. So we'll move on. Item 1, declaration of any interests. Members are reminded of their responsibility to declare any pecuniary interest in respect of matters contained in this agenda. Are there any declarations of interest? No? Excellent, thank you. Item 2, minutes, pages 5 to 8. This item is for decision, but I understand there is an amendment. So can I ask Councillor Bradley, please, can you present the amendment? He's thinking, nobody told me about that.
You know what I'm doing, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor.
excellent.
It's just pretending I don't. Luckily, Ruth has reinforced what I'm doing. As we all know, behind every great man there is an even greater woman who sets us up to answer the questions. Yes, Mr. Mayor, before I propose that the minutes are taken as a true and correct record, an amendment to the minutes is to the public question, minute 58. It was to add the word no to the 6th paragraph in that summary, which was the public question asked and my response to that public question, for those of you who are wondering what it's about. So it will state that Councillor responded, no, this item was not relating to the Constitution, etc., etc. I think it's a very minor thing to pick up, but the person who asked the notice of motion was insistent, so happy to accept that and support that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. So, are there any other issues to raise in terms of the accuracy of the minutes? No. So, Councillor Bradley again, can I ask you to propose the minutes as amended?
Now, I propose those minutes as amended. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Wilson, would you like to second?
Seconded, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayoral announcements. Where's the oil can when you need
You
it?
just need to get the minutes approved. You need a vote.
Small point. Yes, it's going to be one of those. You're right. You should put it in block capitals at the bottom. We have to take a vote on the minutes, of course. All those in favour of accept the minutes, thank you. Anyone against? Abstentions. Abstentions. We should. Thank
You're
you.
okay now.
I can go now. I won't squeak this time because it's already back. Well, it's all very serious stuff later on, so I'll begin with the usual, just filling you in on a few things that I've been doing. I know there's a lot to get through tonight, so I'll only spend no more than 5 minutes. Have you got the clock? Are you ready? Are you on a train again? It's been quite an interesting month, this last month or so, 4 to 6 weeks. A great variety of different things I've been to. began with going along to Exton Hall Hospital, where we, along with the MP for South Ribble, Paul Foster, and we opened up a new refurbished ward there at the Exton Hall Hospital. A significant proportion of the work they do is actually for the NHS, so it was there was some really good equipment and various things that they'd done to improve the facilities that are open to all who wish to use it in the Chorley district. So it was good to know. And as I say, there's a kind of feeling that when you say Exton Hall Hospital, people have it in their head, it's private, therefore it's all insurance and so on. But the vast majority, it's an independent hospital, so a good proportion of it, around 50%, just over, is NHS work. And the fact they've got the extra capacity, should the NHS wish to use it. I then had a meeting with the Chorley Heritage Centre a few weeks ago, and that group, that's one of my supports, the groups I'm supporting this year. They gave us some thoughts on how they might support Chorley's bid for Town of Culture 2028, I believe that is. So they hope to give a presentation before the next council meeting in April about that. And then the rest of my time, the last few weeks now, has taken a more sombre tone. So it's not all tea and cake and sandwiches. So I went along, first of all, to attended the Accrington Pals Memorial, where that was a service of remembrance in Accrington, where we remembered the Pals Battalion that were decimated within sort of 30 minutes of the Battle of the Somme. And of course, a lot of people think the Accrington Pals all came from Accrington, but far from it. A good number of them came from Hyndburn, Burnley, and of course the Chorley Pals. So that was quite a sombre. It still staggers me when they quote the figures, especially the numbers that were killed and wounded within, I say, 30 minutes. That same day, we went to the Blackburn Cathedral for another service of commemoration on the 35th anniversary of the First Gulf War. That was January 1991, when that was Kuwait. Things don't seem to have moved on, but I won't dwell on that, because we all know what's happening today. And then I went to the Ukraine service. It was the 4th anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. So that was another sombre, reflective service with many Ukrainians there who are refugees here, and a lot of the volunteers from the Ukraine group across the road, and lots of other people. The church was very full. And then finally, I went to the Mosley's Mothers Union, who outlined the increasing numbers of women being attacked in terms of domestic violence. And of course, that was highlighted this week by a case which received high-profile reports here in Lancashire. So to say that my emotions were sort of a mixture of emotions over those things was a bit of an understatement. It's been quite a time. However, we move on, and so the proper mayoral announcement, the charity spring concert, which is coming along this Friday. So that's taking place in the Lancastrian. It's a concert which features 2 local choirs, and it's 2 choirs that I've met time and time again over my time as mayor. So I've invited them to come along and give me. This will be the sort of last charity event, probably, in terms of any size in my mayoral year. So the first half will be Sing It Big, and the second half will be the Red Rosettes. So that's arrival from 6:30 for 7. Should finish around 9 o'clock, depending on how quick I can get through the 25 prizes in the raffle. So tickets for the event are just £10, are an absolute bargain. Tea, coffee, Bucks Fizz, cake during the interval, and of course there will be, as I say, the cash raffle. If you'd like to book, there's still a few places available. Please contact Paula Brindle, the Mayor's Secretary, by Wednesday if you can. Thank you. So with that, we move on to item 4, public questions. There are no public questions, so we will move on to item 5. Item 5, Revenue Policy Review, Council Tax Discretionary Reductions Policy, pages 9 to 20 on your agenda. This item is for decision. Councillor Lowe, can you present the item?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. To seek approval to update the Council Tax Discretionary Reductions Policy to award care leavers aged under 25 and if their care was provided by Lancashire County Council with a 100% reduction in respect of the council tax liability. This proposed change will take effect from the 1st of April 2026. Bit of background information for members, Mr Mayor, that we were approached by colleagues at Lancashire County Council who approached all the district councils throughout Lancashire to adopt such a policy. I think it's relatively straightforward, so I'm happy to move the recommendation that we update the policy to award 100% reduction for care leavers with effect from the 1st of April.
Councillor Wilson, can you please second?
Yeah, happy to second, Mr Mayor.
I'll leave it on. Any comments or questions on the report? No? Right, so decision. So can we move to the vote, please? The recommendations are as at paragraph 2. All those for? Thank you. Against? Abstentions? Thank you. That is carried. Item 6. Revenue Budget 2026 to 27, Medium-Term Financial Strategy and Capital Programme 2026 to 29, pages 21 to 164 on your agenda. This item is for decision. Councillor Wilson, can you present the item, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Delighted to present the budget report in front of members this evening. And as is customary, I will start with a thank you, which is always to thank our officers, and particularly Neil and his team in finance who do all the detailed work in preparing for the budget. And again, once again, something that is not just a job for this time of year, although it always comes to a head this time of year, but it's a job that lasts the whole year round, Mr Mayor, and it's something that we should be particularly not only grateful for the team, but also to the whole wider officer team who all feed into this process. It's a big job. Never seems to get any easier. But again, it's done with great efficiency and great skill, and making sure that we're as well prepared for the future as we possibly can be in a world of great uncertainty. Now, Mr Mayor, when I look at Chorley bus station, there's a big, nice illuminated sign there which says Chorley, the best of Lancashire, all in one place. And obviously I am biased, but I firmly believe that we have the very best of Lancashire all in one place. But that's not by accident. That is by deliberation, by listening to what residents want to see delivered, and a council that's been proactive in that approach. And 14 years ago, Mr Mayor, almost 14 years ago, this Labour administration took office and embarked on an ambitious programme. And a lot has changed since then. I'm a bit greyer. Councillor Bradley's a bit thinner. On top. But a lot has changed on top. Yeah, absolutely. But a lot has changed in the area, and a lot has changed for the better. And that required an ambition, and it required a vision. And that was to make this council a dynamic hub. And that's a dynamic hub that makes sure that it's delivering for our residents and delivering quality frontline services. It's about making it more efficient. It's about seeing the opportunities. And in particular, we had a focus. We had a focus on providing more job opportunities in the borough, something that we thought was desperately needed. We looked at gaps in services, services for young people, services for vulnerable residents, services for the elderly. And again, we looked to address that gap. And we looked to identify problems. We looked to make sure that we were a council that was responding to the needs of our local community. Now, that new vision, Mr Mayor, required a new approach. It required us to go outside of our comfort zone, to go into areas that the council's not responsible for delivery. It made us have to think about new ways of raising money on the backdrop of cuts that were constantly hitting local government. And it made us seek out new opportunities.
And in one of our previous annual reports, Mr. Mayor, there was a statement at the top of that which I thought stood out, and it said, achieving our vision is about making a difference to people's lives. And that's what it's all about. We can have the vision, we can have the ideas, but unless we're making a difference, then we're not delivering. But I think we have made a difference to people's lives over those 14 years, Mr. Mayor, and will continue to do so. And if we look at what's been delivered, we look at the youth zone, where youth crime has gone down significantly as a result since that opened. We've got 5,500 young members in that youth zone. We've all visited, we've seen the excellent work that it does. We've created 2 new extra care facilities for quality residential properties where people can live in dignity. We've built 2 new GP surgeries. We've done so much work in the community in terms of looking to support those most vulnerable, whether that's through the social prescribing work or whether that's supporting families, young families. We're looking to address people who've been not in education, employment and training. We've done so much work into that and seen those numbers come down against the backdrop of rises. We've got a fantastic events programme which brings people into the borough and makes them proud to live here and to show off what we can really achieve. And on top of that as well, we've created thousands of jobs through the grants programme and through initiatives to make sure that businesses locate in our borough. So yes, we have made a big difference to people's lives. But like everything, Mr. Mayor, the challenge gets more difficult. It gets, sometimes it seems very, very difficult in the backdrop of cuts to services or cuts to funding for our services, but that just raises the bar. And on each occasion, we rise to the challenge. And despite those challenges, Mr. Mayor, we now see a budget in front of us where, again, we are seeking to invest. We are seeking to provide new services. We're seeking to go into areas that we haven't traditionally been at the forefront of. And again, listening to our residents to understand what they need, what they want to see, and how we can shape our area for the better. So the papers in front of us, Mr. Mayor, outline the position financially that the council's in. We have seen a fair funding review undertaken by the government. We have seen a change to the business rates arrangements as well as a consequence of the review of the retention of business rates. It is true to say, as it says in the papers, that the funding we have received has been cut again. Now, part of the fair funding review is to give money to areas of greater deprivation. While Chorley has pockets, overall, it is a more wealthy area, and therefore, inevitably, we've seen money move away. We've also seen a simplification of a number of the grants that we used to receive as a local authority, and that has been channelled through the Fair Funding Review to hopefully simplify it. And we've also seen the fact that we've had a 3-year settlement, which is the first time in 8 years. Now, that doesn't provide absolute certainty because things still change, but importantly, it does give us at least an ability to do some forward planning, which is always very, very, very important. So despite those challenges and despite the cuts, Mr. Mayor, what do we intend to do? Well, the council wants to remain at the forefront of delivering quality local services and remain at targeting those most groups who need help and support, and how do we continue to grow the area and provide opportunities. So as it says in the report, Mr. Mayor, we have a £60 million capital programme, and that highlights of that includes 638,000 on new family accommodation. We've got 188,000 for adaptations and aids to keep people living in their own homes. £5.1 million decarbonisation programme for council buildings. We've got £1.5 million on the food waste collections, which we know are coming very, very soon. £44 million on town centre redevelopments, which again will bring more jobs and more people into our town centre. £6.6 million for the development of the Woodland site. £4.5 million to revamp our leisure centres and improve the offer, and again encourage people in terms of healthy lifestyles. And then an additional programme on school readiness, which we know is so important, not just at that age of 4 or 5, but also down the track, because when we look at our NEETs, which I mentioned before, we can track them back to that start school age. So that school readiness programme is something that's really, really important and more of a focus for this council. So again, whether it's jobs, whether it's looking after vulnerable people, supporting the green agenda, promoting leisure and health, looking after young people, or helping to make sure that we keep people attracted to this town centre and attracted to our borough, this budget delivers on those ambitions. And again, I take you back to that quote, achieving our ambition is making a difference to people's lives. And that's exactly what this budget sets out to achieve and exactly what this budget will achieve. All of that, Mr Mayor, is being done, and we are not asking the residents of Chorley to pay 1 penny more to this council, because we're freezing council tax, as well as delivering this ambitious programme. Now, I'd remind members that when everyone pays the council tax, only 9% of that comes to this council. 75% goes to Lancashire County Council. I'm never convinced or sure what they do with that money. When I drive around the roads and my wheels nearly fall off the car, I don't know where that money is being invested, because it's not being invested in our roads, it's not being invested in supporting people who've got to send children, it's not being sent towards our care facilities either. So I do question where the county council spend their money. I do question whether they get value for money. The one thing I do know is that this council provides real value for money for that 9% that we get to be able to achieve and deliver the services that we're talking about. That is value for money, and that is efficiency. And how do we do that, Mr Mayor? We do that because, yes, we set ambitious targets to our officers and our teams to make efficiencies, and with the Fit for Future programme, as it's referred to in the papers, we'll make savings of 1.2 million by this financial year, which is a significant achievement in itself. But also, Mr Mayor, going back to those days that I talked about from when we took control, we took decisions, we made a clear direction that we had to create our own income sources. We had to be more imaginative, and we had to make sure we were here to provide services, not just whinge about the cuts. And that's exactly what we did. And because of those investments, we have now an income coming into this council after borrowing costs of over £2 million per year, which, as it says in the report, amounts to somewhere in the region of about 17% of our overall budget. So that is because of our vision, it's because of our decision making, at times criticised widely by opposition, by some members of the public, but necessary. And that's what puts us in that position. The ability to think dynamically, the ability to act with courage is why we can be able to make those savings, why we've got the extra income, shared services, etc. All those things that we had to do that sometimes were difficult were necessary, because that puts us in this strong position. So the one thing I'm convinced of, Mr Mayor, is that we are delivering value for money, we are providing quality services, and as long as we continue to do that, Chorley will be the very best of Lancashire, all in one place. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Bradley, can you second, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and delighted to second Peter's 14th, whatever it is, budget, which it seems a long time, but Peter's dead right. This has been about having a plan. You cannot deliver consistently good services, as Chorley does, without having a plan. And how do we know that? Every time there's a league table of the best places to live in the northwest of England or across England, where is Chorley ranking? Very high up. Now, that's not this council that does that, I hate to disappoint you guys, but that is our residents, our communities, all working together, delivering a nice place to live and work and bring up families and visit. We know that because we're told it from outside. The council helps with that because that was the vision that Peter talks about. The vision was, how do we help our communities do that and not stand in the way of them doing that? That's the only way we can do that. Hence, Mr Mayor, I'm disappointed again that Councillor Top isn't here. I know he may be ill. I apologise if he is.
Yes.
But, maybe he will be ill. But we are told by people at County Council last year that they would freeze council tax, but then don't freeze council tax. Every bandy property in Chorley is paying out £1,800 a year to Lancashire County Council. And I've written, Mr Mayor, to the leader of the County Council, who I used to know very well before he sort of went off on his strange trail, to ask him where that money was being spent in Lancashire, because I cannot see Chorley getting its share of that money anywhere around here. It takes Councillor Riggott to basically plead for white lining around the motorway. So, drive past Chorley Hospital. If you're in an ambulance, I literally shudder to think what you'd be like inside that ambulance. You'd be rattling around like a pea in a tin can. It is ridiculous. Where is that money being spent? It is not being spent in Chorley. And if it is, it's being wasted in Chorley. Because tarmacking gangs with the County Council are out in my ward, laying tarmac with a gas canister, wearing sliders on their feet. That is not a proper job. And, you know, I have really said something nice about Mr Councillor Riggott, but even the previous administration at County Hall didn't manage to stoop to that level. So, we have a plan. We have a plan. We are delivering to a plan. I appreciate Peter and the council officers' work at producing the next stage of that plan, because we also need to plan, and we've had meetings just today about where is Chorley going next. Because Chorley will be going through a reorganisation across Lancashire, and back to being fit for purpose. We will need to be fit for purpose. Whoever we end up working with, Mr. Mayor, in the future, we will have to be at the forefront still. We will have to be ambitious. We'll have to have that vision about where we see Chorley being in the brave new Lancashire. Because if we don't, things will happen to us that we can't control. So, as a vision for the next 5 years, where do we all see Chorley being? Organisational wise, who knows? But what I would really, really like to see is that our town centre and our villages are still busy, vibrant places that their residents are proud of. And walking down Chorley generally, I'm very proud of Chorley. There's always bits you can improve, there's always things you can do differently, but proud of it. And I see that pride in the village centres. How do we know? Because driving up the A6 the other day, and I mentioned this to Councillor Snape, I get to Adlington and suddenly the verges, the highways, the footpaths are clear. It's just tidier. It looks like it's looked after. The place looks like somebody cares about it. And that's, you know, done by the parish councils in Adlington, but it's also done by Chorley Council, setting that tone. We've just invested in a new temporary road sweeper. It may be a permanent road sweeper. There's a name going on, a naming competition going on within our offices about what they're going to call it. My own favourite was Sir Binsey Hoyle. Sweeper of Chorley Council, was it? Something like that. I don't know what. As long as it's not called anything to do with me, I'm fine about that. But we need to keep that plan going on about what we're doing and be top of the class, because if we're not, we'll get overtaken and left behind. And I would desperately like other councils in Lancashire, particularly the county council, to start getting some money from the assets that they have, like we do here in Chorley. And I pay credit to Councillor Wilson and his department for doing that. We have to keep delivering for residents. We have to keep delivering for our staff. This week, I'm due to attend our union AGM here in Chorley with the leader of South Ribble to answer questions from our staff, because they're going into times of uncertainty. We want Chorley to be an employer of choice. We want Chorley to be a beacon employer and all our staff to be as happy as they can be doing their job. So we've got to keep focused on delivering all these targets. So, Mr. Mayor, in summary, happy to support and second this budget. It's a continuation of the excellent budgets that have been presented before. Chorley Council is an efficient council, providing value for money, as Councillor Wilson said, and we look to do that for as long as we are in existence. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Comments or questions on this item? Councillor France.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really welcome this £25,000 commitment to support school readiness in the borough. We know that 1 in 3 children in the Chorley borough is not achieving a good standard of development at the end of their reception class in school. Many of these children start school not toilet trained, unable to hold a knife and fork, unable even to hold a pen or a pencil in their hand. And I think that this is absolutely crucial to support the youngest members in our society so that they continue to grow and thrive throughout their school years and eventually contribute to the economy of the area. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor France. Councillor Singh.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson, for proposing that budget. I welcome, obviously, the proposal to implement the council tax freezes, as I think we all recognise that this is meaningful support to many residents in the borough as they continue to live through this cost of living pressures upon their lives. I also recall we spoke about this in the previous ONS meetings to debate, obviously, the council tax freeze. In light of what you've said today, Councillor Wilson, and all the extra services that Chorley provide to residents, can you just provide us reassurance that implementing the freeze for this financial year will not result in any reduction in quality or delivery of the essential council services, nor will it negatively impact the level of funding allocated to local organisations? Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, just to, on Councillor Francis' points, yeah, Councillor Francis has been a fantastic campaigner for the school readiness issue and brought it to our attention a long time ago. I think it's an area that will grow, unfortunately, but therefore the sooner we participate in that, the better. In terms of Councillor Singh's question, yeah, as we said, we discussed this at ONS because we were looking at the potential for what council tax would be set, where it would be set rather. Absolutely, this decision is taken in the knowledge that there won't be any cuts to services and in the knowledge that we'll be able to continue to make sure we're delivering quality services to the front line. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. And I would remind members, and again, particularly perhaps one or two people in the public who have raised their criticism of this decision, that over the years, sometimes we've increased council tax, sometimes we've frozen council tax. Over the last 10 years, I think our council tax has gone up by about 22%, compared to 50% plus from Lancashire County Council. There's a difference. Inflation's gone up by more than 22% over the last 10 years, so we've not even kept pace with that. So we've continually made sure that we're providing value for money and continue to work by the principle of you only increase council tax when you absolutely have to. You don't play footloose with it.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Any further comments or questions? Okay. We're going to move to a recorded vote, which is what is required for the budget. So, Chris, we'd like to go through the names. You will answer yea or nay to approving the budget. Yeah,
For, against, or abstain.
you're right. For
Councillor Ainsworth.
For.
Councillor Amawi. Councillor Beach.
For.
Councillor Beaver. Councillor Berry.
For.
Councillor Bradley. Councillor Brown.
For.
Councillor Clifford. Councillor Gordon France. Councillor Margaret France. Councillor G. Councillor Gray. Councillor Green. Councillor Hayden. Councillor Hilton. Councillor Howarth. Councillor Hasina Khan. Councillor Samir Khan. Councillor Lees. Councillor Lowe. Councillor Lynch. Councillor McGovern. Councillor Molyneux. Councillor Morwood.
For.
Councillor Moss. Councillor Murray. Councillor Alan Platt. Councillor Deborah Platt.
Right.
For.
For. Councillor Riggett. Councillor Sherwood. Councillor Snow. Councillor Southern. Councillor Singh. Councillor Snape. Councillor Towers. Councillor Whiffin. Councillor Whittam. Councillor Whittaker. Councillor Wilkie. Councillor Williamson. And Councillor Wilson.
Unanimous. Excellent. We had a discussion of whether it should be yea, for, nay.
And then I didn't know
And then
what
we
to
got
say.
totally confused. Excellent. And I'm so glad that didn't take as long as another council recently, which I heard started their budget meeting at 6 o'clock in the evening and finished at 6 o'clock the following morning.
No way.
Believe it or not. We move on to agenda item 7, committee appointments. This item is for decision. Councillor Bradley, can you present this item?
Mr Mayor, thank you. Yes, so the proposal is, Mr Mayor, that that Councillor Ryan Towers is replaced by Councillor Jean Sherwood on the Overview and Scrutiny Committee with immediate effect. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. So the recommendation is to replace Councillor Ryan Towers on Overview and Scrutiny Committee with Councillor Jean Sherwood. All those for?
Second, Chair.
Oh,
Dashing ahead.
Councillor Wilson would
Happy
like
to second,
second. Thank you.
It was worth
You know, I used to be better at this, didn't I? Yeah.
You're regressing.
Well, as I said before, all those 4. Thank you. Against? Abstentions? Thank you. I'm going to take a glass of water. Item 8, to consider the notice of motion given in accordance with Council Procedure Rule 12, pages 165 to 166 on your agenda. This item is for decision. Councillor Whittam, can you present your notice of motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The notice of motion is looking at having the National Cadet Day introduced here in Chorley. Proposal is that this council supports the national campaign to introduce National Cadet Forces Day on Tuesday of the Armed Forces Week, and asks that the leader of the Chorley Council signs a letter of support for the campaign to the Armed Forces Ministerial Team, Luke Pollard MP and Al Cairns MP. The background basically is that cadet forces around the UK are voluntary youth organisations aged between 12 and 18 plus, sponsored by the Ministry of Defence to develop leadership, teamwork, principles and other valuable life skills within a military environment. The 5 main cadet forces include the Sea Cadets, Volunteer Cadet Corps, Army Cadet Force, RAF Air Cadets, formerly known as the Air Training Corps, and the Combined Cadet Force, all provide a structured and supportive environment for young people to learn, grow and develop valuable skills whilst embracing a sense of community and citizenship. There are very well established and active units within Chorley, which are the RAF Air Cadets, Army Cadet Force and the Sea Cadets, these being 92 Chorley Squadron Royal Air Force Air Cadets, 526 Unit Chorley Sea Cadet Corps and Chorley Armed Cadet Force ACF, part of the Salino Company of the Lancashire Army Cadet Force. I understand that similar campaigns have started in Cheshire East and also our neighbouring South Ribble, with letters written to the Armed Forces Minister Luke Pollard and Veterans Minister Al Cairns, to create a National Cadet Forces Day to be celebrated each year on Tuesday of the Armed Forces Week. As many councillors here will be aware, the Monday of Armed Forces Week starts events with Armed Forces flags being raised above the Town Hall. Wednesday is National Reserves Day, with National PTSD Awareness Day falling on the Friday, which then culminates in the Armed Forces Day itself being celebrated on the last Saturday in June. In recent years, Chorley Council have supported an Armed Forces concert in the Lancastrian room, where all are invited to witness a military-themed event. A National Cadet Armed Forces Day would provide a specific day to promote the work and achievements of our cadet units and volunteers. It would assist with recruitment to meet the government's new cadet force targets and allow for a specific day of engagement with the cadet units and award their successes. The key skills and core values gained by individuals provide an invaluable contribution to society deserving of celebration. This notice of motion will demonstrate the importance and continue the value Chorley Council holds for cadet forces, and that a council we will continue to be pioneers in recognising the praiseworthy contributions of all elements of our armed forces community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll need to take questions through yourself if there are any.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Whittam. Councillor Beaver, who would like to second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'd just like to add that I'm more than proud to second that. But what you may not know is that within the cadet forces, it mentions about them being volunteers. The adult instructors give their time and may or may not get paid from their employment when they go on annual camp. They certainly don't get paid if they go on camp and do a training course such as drill, weapons training, or anything like that. So that is the commitment that these people that we never meet, but I do. This is what they do. On top of that, it's my understanding that Chorley doesn't have a cadet wear your uniform to school day. Leyland does. I was at Balshaw High School as a mentor. And I went in my uniform and the school children went in theirs. If we do this, this could be a catalyst and a springboard to start things like that. So that in school, other people can recognise what their colleagues do, their school friends, but also consider, would they become a cadet instructor when they leave? Could they be recruited? Which then boosts up, which then gives our children something to do, something to keep them off the streets, something that gives them discipline and standards. So yes, I support this nomination. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Beaver. I've had the pleasure of visiting most of the cadet forces, all of them apart from the Army cadets, but there's still time. So can we please move to the vote? Oh. I put this down to having the council meeting on a Monday. I've not really got my head round having it on a Monday. That's my excuse anyway. Any questions or comments? Councillor Whittam.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, were they camouflaged, these Army cadets that you went to see?
Who said that? Right. Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Councillor, who is it? Wilkie, sorry. Sorry, Katie.
I'd just like to pass a comment that I find that on any official duties, the cadets are always dressed
Can you please stand
impeccably.
up, please, Katie?
Sorry.
about that.
Our cadets are always dressed impeccably, and I think they represent Chorley extremely well when we have our remembrance days and then on the Holocaust days. And I think this is a really generous and kind thing to do, and something to give back, because they do us proud, and I'm so proud to see them on that day. So I think this is an excellent idea, and thank you for suggesting it, Councillor Whittam and Councillor Beaver.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkie.
Sorry, could I just also remind you of a visit that you made and of another spin-off association, the NPCT, who you recently visited.
Yes.
And for those who don't know who the NPCT are, go and visit them. They're in Devonshire Road. Thank you.
Are you going to tell them what MPCT stands for?
I will. Now,
A quick test.
MPC stands for Motivation, Preparation, College for Training. Now, I always get mixed up with this because, to begin with, when I asked what it was, they said motivation, military. Is it motivation, is it military? Is it training college, is it college for training? And it's college for training. So, just say MPCT. Just say, excuse me, what are you called? And someone will probably not be able to tell you. Thank you.
But you all understood that perfectly. Any other further questions or comments? And this, we can go to the vote this time. Yes. All those for the notice of the motion, please show. Thank you. Against? Abstentions? Thank you. That is carried. Yes. Yes.
Just very quickly, Mr Mayor, because I'm conscious that we've quite a quick meeting. Obviously, to save any time and coming back to people, happy. Chorley Council has supported cadet organisations for a long, long time. Happy to accept that notice of motion which asked me to write to those ministers. I will do that tomorrow. And I will just make the point that when I, myself and the Chief Executive, look at all the ward grants that you put forward for organisations, many people here support those cadet organisations through your ward grants, and I see that every week, every month, every year, and more. And I too, like you and Chorley Council, values the efforts of those young people and the people like Aaron said who spend their time training those young people. And I think anything that can be done to reinforce that teamwork, citizenship and wider community buy-in that those young people are showing and doing should be welcomed by this council. So happy to do that, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Patrick. Item 9. Questions asked under Council Procedure Rule 10. No questions have been submitted. But we move to agenda item 10, which is any urgent business previously agreed with the Mayor, and it's on pages 169 to 172. I have accepted one item of urgent business on the grounds that the decision cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting of the council. So agenda item 11, I beg your pardon, to do with polling station changes. Councillor Wilson, can you present the item?
Yep, thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you for accepting this late item. As you quite rightly say, time does not permit us to hold it over. So the proposal is just one change to a polling station, and that is polling station in Copples. This is the polling district COP 03, and it's to change from the Coppell Village Hall, where it currently has been for many, many years, to the Coppell Parish Church School, which thankfully is very, very close by and accessible for residents to use as a polling station. So hopefully it will mean to facilitate the change very, very swiftly, Mr Mayor, and be in place for the elections in May. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Bradley, can you second?
Happy to second that, Mr Mayor, and happy and welcome the work of our elections team who did it at this very short notice to deal with an issue that arose locally, and it shows the pragmatism of getting on with it. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. So can we move to the vote? Recommendations as at paragraph. Yeah, there's
The deputy mayor's really keeping you on the
yeah, it's missing. There's nothing there. It's a good thing I've only got a couple to go, isn't it? There are some questions, and I should have remembered. Councillor Hilton.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's not a question, it's just a comment, really. And as Councillor Bradley said, thank you to the elections team for sorting this out very quickly at the last minute. I think it's really disappointing that Coppell Parish Council have chosen not to allow an accessible room to be used in the new village hall for the upcoming local elections. The building was funded by money that should be used for the community, so I would encourage Coppell Parish Council to work closely with the Elections Office at Chorley Council to allow this community asset to be used for future elections. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hilton. Any other comments or questions? In that case, we will move to the vote as recommendations at paragraphs 2 and 3. All those for, please show. Thank you. Against? Abstentions? Thank you. That is passed. Before I declare the meeting closed, I must apologise. I've really not been quite at my best this evening. I have no idea why, but I do put it down to be Monday.
Busy.